you know, we had sort of these 3 rooms or 5 areas, and I tried to make a little hodgepodge mixture of what work, first what work I have, and then second what work could go together, and a little bit from different time periods. You know, like in these tapestries, they come from prints that I made in like 1994 when I did a residency at a school, and I could go and they made photolithos for me, or photo etchings. And so then I printed I printed them on like pieces of paper this big, because that's the size the paper came, and then I'd glue them together. And then I can just keep reconstituting them over and over and over. So like that wolf or that deer, I made 1,000,000 times into 1,000,000 things. And then I made, often from the prints, I made sculptures. You know, so it came from a 2-dimensional form to a 3-dimensional form. Or, and these things, I don't know when I started making them, about 10 years ago or something I started making them. Chuck Close, an artist, was working with these people in California, Magnolia Edition, and he asked me if I wanted to make tapestry, and they're really jacquard looms. They're woven, and they can be woven very quickly, but the preparation time usually takes about a year. But I made mostly everything just black and white. I didn't use color so much, so it really was like a big opportunity to think about color, because tapestries have color, but for the most part use color. But it was the same thing. I could just take all these prints and start chopping them up. And to me, that's like my pleasure part of it. Like, or these little moons, that was a moon print from 25 years ago, and then a student of mine from China, she and her friends said they wanted to make a woodcut for me, so I gave them these images that I used earlier, and then they could make something. And you know, then probably with that, I'll take some of those and cut them up and make a big globe of half the moon or something. Last 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I made these drawings from the woodcuts that we had in our yard. You know, I love that where you have the tree splits into 2 trunks, you know, and you see these like eyes in the wood. And that was at the same print shop as where I made the first print. And I like that a lot. Yeah, and for me, more like of how you can work, like how you can just organically move from one thing to the next, and you know, you don't have to know what you're doing. And I think it's probably not very interesting to know what you're doing for the most part, because then you don't have to do it, you know? Like, it's more interesting to give yourself a new experience that you don't know what the outcome is. Often when you make something, like you have this impetus to start doing something, and you just trust that and you do that. But then sometimes you can't get it all done at one moment, and then over time, it reveals what it needs. You know, and that you could, like, things happen in your life, or you go see something, or you go to a museum, or you go to somebody's house, or something happens in your life, and then you see, oh, it needed this other component that you couldn't have known in the beginning. And, you know, it makes me realize more and more the importance of time.